ACOTAR, if you notice any weird inconsistencies with the camera movements and the lighting, it's because a thunderstorm is literally happening right now.
Literally on the day we were gonna film
thunder and everything. So I don't even know if you can hear thunder. Maybe you hear a dog barking in the back.
Just go with it. Just go with it.
We're trying. We're also filming from a camera, but it also has cut in and out with the battery. And
battery issues.
You know,
so we've been switching from our phone to the camera. So just bear with us. It's our first.
Quality sucks.
I'm sorry. It's our first time. Okay, let us.
But we'll get better. 3.
Oh my god, I'm nervous.
I know. Why is this so professional? I feel like I'm in a studio. This is like studio. They're like, all right, so tell us, how did you feel about ACOTAR? And what's your favorite character?
I had strong feelings.
I have opinions.
I have opinions. Welcome to our first ever book club video.
Also known as the Full-Time Thought Daughter Book Club.
I love that. It's our first ever book club, right? And we thought, what better way to start? What other way to start?
What better book to start with? None other than, I know you know what it is.
Yeah.
Like, we all have seen this cover. Or maybe not this specific cover, because apparently it's special edition.
It's special first edition. Like, we're fancy. For our first book club, first monthly reading, we decided to read A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. And it's also, like, Kaylin's first fantasy book.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I find it so hard to get into fantasy. But because it's just so unbelievable to, like, think about. Like, this is the actual plot that's playing out right now.
Yeah. To be fair, I have read fantasy before, and I like it. I've never read fantasy to this
extent
level. Yeah. I don't hate it. I don't love it. I'm just, like, very... Is it the word what is that word that it's like is it perplexed? I don't know. I'm just very weird. Like, I feel very odd. I'm like, unsettled.
Indifferent.
If you've never heard of ACOTAR before, very popular book series. It's literally like the #1 bestseller. It's like #1 in fantasy. And it's all about a girl. It's all about a 19-year-old girl. She's a hunter.
Yeah.
She's a huntress.
She's a huntress.
There's hotties. There's curses. There's bad sisters. There's
literally evil stepsisters.
There's like so much lore in this book and confusion. So I think what we're gonna do is we're just gonna take you like chapter by chapter. The ones that break it down and
kind of like our thoughts, because it was our first ever introduction into the series.
Yeah.
The first book.
And it's our first time. Like,
I just wanted to like know, like you said, like the lore behind it. I would see everybody read the book and I was like, what am I missing out on?
And they're hyping it up so much. I'm like, I need to see. To this day,
huge on Book Talk.
It is.
So it's like I need to know what the people are talking about.
So if you're curious what it's all about and how two girls that aren't too into this genre of fantasy feel about it, stick around because we're about to get into it.
We're gonna be real. We're gonna be real, okay?
So chapter 1, we are in this like ice forest, okay? It's winter and we're met with this girl who's our main character named Feyre. And she is like telling us about how their family is starving. She's on this hunt.
She's like head of the family.
Yeah.
Technically, her sisters suck. They're annoying. They're complaining. They just are like, go get our food.
Yeah. So
literally
she's like, Feyre is like responsible for her family. And she's actually the youngest, which when I read that, I was like, not you sending the youngest to go hunt for you guys. We spend this entire chapter just like roaming through this forest, and she finds this like deer, and she's like, oh my god, yes, like we're gonna eat good tonight.
They're eating good.
And then like from the kind of corner of her eye, she sees this like glowing face, glowing eyes, and she's like, there's a wolf there. Oh my god, I'm gonna die. But
she's like scared as
yeah.
She's scared.
She's scared.
She's scared.
Like, this is normal. Like, knowing about fairies is like we know. We fear them. She sees this wolf and she's like, oh, he looks like he might be a fairy because of his gargantuous size. Like, literally, if you've ever watched Teen Wolf before, I just kept thinking about the alpha dog, but like with gold eyes. Imagine that. Okay. But it's this like huge wolf creature.
I know.
And she's like, wait, I have an arrow that can kill him, whatever. And so there's so much lore between, like, I mean, behind who can, like, what can kill a fairy. And, like, I think Ash is one of them.
Like an ash
arrow or something.
Dagger or something.
It was an arrow, like though, because she's an archer, whatever.
Yeah.
So she was like, well, I'm going to kill it. She ends up killing it, skinning it. And she's like, wait, I can't take that back home, so I'm just going to, like...
I'm going to sell it.
I'm going to get this deer, skin the pelt of the wolf, and then she returns home. I have so many thoughts for chapter 1. Okay. So my first thought was, like, Feyre would literally win Survivor, like the reality TV show Survivor, because, like,
she would.
And, like, that's just from the first chapter. If you read the whole entire book and you see, like, everything that she has to do, like, near the end of the book, I'm like, she would literally
win Survivor. She would win Survivor. I literally wrote down girl boss for carrying the deer. That's it. I was like, okay, girl boss.
She literally hunched that over. She is starving, struggling, weak,
fighting for
her
life.
Ribs can be seen, like, oh my god, no.
She's a baddie.
So, I also noticed, like, Sarah J. Maas does this thing that she does it so much in this book that I can't. And I was wondering if you caught it. So she says, like, Feyre, she was like, I hopefully am doing something, whatever. And then she'll dash, hopefully, ... Or then she'll do, like, most of the time.
She cuts off the sentence, and then she starts it with the same word that she ended it.
I hated that. I was like, that's so annoying.
Hopefully. Or, like, hopefully she'll come. It, like, cuts off.
Or it'll be like, she was hungry most of the time. Period. Most of the time.
In
italics. And I was like, I get it.
I did notice that.
I was like, damn. My fave quotes from this chapter are, once I dreamed and breathed and thought in color. And I was like, that's so cute. Like, this little girl, this, like, poor girl, like, she is starving, fending for her family. And I was just like, that made me sad.
Because I feel like Feyre also just feels like the weight of everyone's expectations, like her family's expectations, because she's technically the one caring for all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So she feels...
She's a full-time daughter.
She's a full-time daughter.
She's got that. She has a mindset.
And I'm like,
Feyre's our favorite full-time daughter, dude.
She's like, wait, I love my family. I need to provide for them. But also, like, there's a land that's out to get us. And no sé qué. And, like, a wolf is in the woods. And she's, like,
fully going out into the woods. Like, everyone knows that if you go into the forest and you're, like, they live, like, really close to the border that separates the mortals and, like, the magical land, like, Prythian, which is what the fairy realm is called. She lives super close to the border, so they're, like, very, very scared. Like, everyone in their village is like, what are you doing going that far? Like, you're risking your life. So that's what she does every single day, risks her life to hunt for her family.
I wonder what personality type she would be. Like, if she took a personality test, like, what would it be? Like, would she be, like, the...
Like, maybe she'd be, like, the... I don't know.
Or, like, in Harry Potter, like, what house would she be in? She'd be, like, Gryffindor.
She would definitely be Gryffindor.
She's a Gryffindor.
For sure. Maybe she'd be, like, the protagonist personality type. Because I was going to say logician, but she isn't.
No.
I really liked, as we transitioned to chapter 2 and 3, when we just, like, meet her family, and we realize, like, her family sucks. Her sisters are called Nesta and Elaine, okay? And they're her elder sisters. And they're horrible. I did like, though... Later on in the book, Feyre says that, like, Nesta would do anything for Elaine, which I was like,
there is a very clear depiction of both of the sisters. Like, from the get-go, we know which one is, like, it's giving, like, one of them is a little meaner, Nesta? And the other one's more, like, naive. And
I would say, like, Elaine is, like, she's the middle sister. I think Elaine is just, like, aloof. She's very she's just, like, there, and she kind of isn't, I think she just disconnects. She doesn't really, like, I don't think she likes to think about it that much. Whereas Nesta, I think she just holds a lot of resentment. Because they were, like, very rich. Like, they were really wealthy. And then the dad, like,
there's a whole backstory with the dad. And
yeah, he got, like, beat up for his debt. And, like, because of it, he can't work, leaving Feyre to do all of that.
But I think it's, like, clear off the jump. I think it's intentional by, like, describing the characters before showing us...
Oh, yeah.
Like, through their actions.
Yeah, it's like,
it's very, like, they'll put her opinion on what she feels.
Yeah, like, Sarah J. Maas made a very clear, like, characterization of both the sisters, rather than showing what you were saying, that they were, like, cruel to Feyre or inconsiderate. It's just, like, straight up, like,
her
you
opinion.
smell.
Yeah,
or, like, well, I don't want to help you, or, like, oh my god, like, go do stuff for us. It's, like, I don't know. I wish they would have shown more, but I get that. My favorite Nesta quote about her was, Nesta was prone to crave anything someone else possessed. And I kind of love that, because I think that sets up her character
It does describe her. And
I think it sets up her character.
Train of thinking throughout the entire book.
And I think it's just because she's the oldest, so I think she had like the most time to see everything she's lost. Right. I like the whole story with the sisters. It's like, I wish that they would show more of it, but it's interesting.
I did too. Yeah. I wish we would have seen like how they play into it more, because they were kind of like side characters.
They were kind of side characters, but anyway, we're going in. I thought that whole like chapter was so unnecessary, like the marketplace chapter, but it kind of talks about like, it's so boring. It kind of talks about this guy Isaac, who's like is Feyre's situationship,
love or some shit back home.
It's like her situationship. She doesn't even love him. She's like whatever. He's there. The whole scene about the marketplace is literally just to instill fear. Like Sarah J. Maas just wants the readers to know fairies are scary,
dangerous.
Don't mess with them.
Don't cross their path.
Yeah,
they can literally destroy you so hard.
Yeah.
Don't mess with it.
And then they just kind of give some background as to like the lore of like the land and stuff. Anyone north of Prythian or whatever, it's like that's all fairies, and then everyone like south is mortal.
This is what gets me with like fantasy books.
Why?
It just it's so intricate. Like
they're
so like building up, but there's like 20 million names happening at one time. So they're like this land, but then there's also the high courts, the summer court,
the
spring court, and autumn court, night court.
There's high fae and
regular fae. Then there's Prythian is the land, but then there's also like this, and I'm like, what are we doing?
So in summary, these first few chapters, it's just her hunting, her selling the thing, her sisters being ungrateful, and just setting up that this is a really scary world, past the border. Then, one night, out of nowhere, the windows and door bust open, and in comes this chimera-looking beast with... Hold on.
So
I wrote down the description.
No, it's actually so unserious.
It has the head of a wolf, antlers, a feline body in the shape of a horse with claws.
And we're supposed to...
root for this guy.
Ooh. We're literally supposed to be like, ooh, who is that?
As Kaylin said, this is like heavily inspired by Beauty and the Beast. So what helped me was just picturing the
I was fully imagining like underneath all of this like hard exterior, it's like the prince of Beauty and the Beast.
I was just picturing the Beast now when he like pulled up, and he just screams, "Murderers!" And I lost it because I was like, I didn't know they could talk. Like, I didn't know that was a thing. And that's the first time I cackled because I was like, there's no way. And he was like, who killed it? Who killed the wolf? And it's like a beast screaming. And I was like, okay, this is how it goes.
This is what we're getting into.
Feyre, it's kind of funny because I found this hypocritical because they're talking the whole last chapter. She was like so scared of the fairies. And, like, they're like, oh, my God. And then all of a sudden, she's, like, in fight mode. And I was like, that is so weird that, like, 2 seconds ago, you were like, oh, my God,
I'm scared.
And then now you're, like, ready to fight. Mind you, she's fighting with, like, a little tiny knife. Super tiny against this, like, fairy creature. Anywho, he, like, pulled up because he was looking for the person that killed this, like, wolf that actually ended up being a fairy. And he was like, listen, that cannot happen in this world. There is like a law that says like an eye for an eye, kind of like if you kill a fairy, you have to pay with your own life. And Feyre is like, oh my God, okay, kill me outside though. Like she's like, let's take this outside. Like don't ruin the floorboards. Yes. Like this, it's really hard to get it out. And he's like, well, I'm gonna give you a choice since you didn't lie to me. It's either you like die right now, or you can come back with me to Prythian and live out the rest of your life over there in the fairy realm. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did her dad tell her to go?
He did.
Okay.
He was like, don't come back.
Oh, remember? Yeah. I remember her dad was like,
literally
get
was
out
like,
of here.
Get out. Like, you deserve better. More.
Mm-hmm.
And like,
you're too good for us. Make a name for yourself.
Yeah, he was like, you're too good for us.
Her
like,
dad was
get
like,
out.
Get out of here. Go save yourself. And then Feyre was like,
I guess.
All right, I'm gonna grab my stuff and I'm gonna go.
She left.
She's like interrogating this beast. She's like, who are you? Where are we going? You know, she's like trying to get information. And
one thing about Feyre though, she will be asking questions.
Feyre is a detective. Feyre is so sneaky and snoopy, and she's just like, she's always in everyone's business
like,
when it doesn't even
everything.
matter to her. So anyway, she's like asking all these questions, and the beast literally like uses magic on her or something, and she's just like goes in a daze and like knocks out. And when she wakes up, she is suddenly
at this manor.
This beautiful.
It's considered a
no. She's in a different season altogether.
Oh yeah.
Because it was like winter in the mortar realm, and now when she wakes up from this daze, and she's like, it is springtime.
Yes.
And she thinks she's been out for months, but like, girl, you're just in
the spring court.
The spring court. So she like pulls up to this like beautiful palace, kind of like a manor, imagine, like very like illustrious, beautiful like, place,
giant staircase.
Yeah, there's like it's giving castle, like literally imagine Beauty and the Beast castle. Yes. Okay. And when the beast like sits down, they like go to the dining room table, right? And he like sits down, and I literally imagine like an animated poof, like a poof thing. Yeah. And suddenly he's this like super sexy, like
like whatever.
Feyre is like, oh my god, who are you?
Wait.
She's like, wait, you're not a beast.
You're not a beast.
It transforms into this like man who has blonde hair, and he's a fairy, and he's actually like imagine like a person. Golden hair.
Wearing a mask. That's a very important point to me.
That's a plot point.
Yeah.
He's wearing a mask. And she's like, oh my god, he's like a guy. Okay, cool, awesome. And then in comes this other character that we're introduced to, who is an important character in the story, who I like a lot. His name is Lucien. And he's like, oh my god, like, you're so mortal, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like this back and forth.
Yeah. They give us kind of like a little bit of a backstory as to like, that the person that she killed was a part of
the Spring Court. The Spring Court. And that's why the beast who brought Feyre to the Spring Court went after her.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then she's just told to like go bathe by this man, this like this guy, this beast that brought her in. And we meet another character named Alice, who's like kind of like a servant in this Spring Court.
Yes.
I kind of love Alice. Did you like Alice?
I know. She was such a sweetie. And
she would help her
and she would baddie.
Yeah.
And like give her information.
Yeah, she would give her information. I like Alice. Yeah. Alice was cool. We find out that this like blonde masked man, his name is Tamlin, and he's actually like the head of the Spring Court. Like that's like
he is high fae. But he's like, he is high fae.
He is high fae. Like, he is high fae.
Like, when you think of Spring Court, it's like,
like, he's not just fae. He's high fae. He's not even high fae. He's a big dog. He's a high lord, okay? Like,
high lord.
He's a high lord, okay? And there's only a few high lords in this world, whatever.
Yeah.
But he's, like, really special. Imagine, like, the king of a place. Like, he is the one in charge, okay?
I literally the entire time was just like, this is Beauty and the Beast mixed with Damon and Stefan.
Yes.
And she's like, one's a little bit edgier.
Yes.
And one of them's like the Stefan. You know, like Tamlin to me was Stefan as Lucien was Damon.
It's like this back and forth. She spends most of her days kind of exploring the court and like making maps and stuff, going out.
She's also a painter, so she's like, I wish I had my painting
supplies. Right. She's trying to leave. Like, she's trying to escape because in her mind, she's like, my family's gonna die without me. So she's not trying to...
Yeah, like the food isn't gonna last.
She's not trying to be there forever. So
every single time. No, but every single time...
Tammy is gonna go do it.
She's like about to do something, or she is caught doing something in the woods. They're always like, what are you doing, girl?
Yeah.
Like, you can't be out here. We already told you you can't be out here. And it's like the same conversation happening.
She does this multiple times. Like, she goes into the woods many times. She thinks she sees her dad one time.
Or, like, they'll tell her not to go one place and she'll
do it. She'll do it. And it's just funny because, like, she does it even though she knows that they have, like, heightened powers. Like, that's why it's giving vampire, because they can, like, hear things. They can, like, smell.
They also, like, glisten.
They do glisten. They do glisten.
It was sorry, like the smell thing
was just... I just remember this other part that we get to soon enough. They, like, are kind of becoming friends. Like, all of them are kind of becoming friends. They have, like, days that they go, like, out and do, like, fun activities. Yeah.
But the way that they describe the fairies to me is, like, the funniest thing. because I find it so hard to find what Feyre is finding attractive. Like, she'll say something about Tamlin or whatever that's like, oh my god, like, it's supposed to be...
Yeah.
Like, we're supposed to be falling in love for this character.
Tamlin like, didn't do it for me. I even liked Lucien more than I liked Tamlin. Like,
I don't know what it was.
I don't like Tammy. Tammy just seemed really, like, he was a nice guy at first, but then it was just giving, like... It was giving me nothing.
It was giving me nothing.
So, it's just, like, so many pages of her trying to escape. Her and Tamlin flirting with each other, having these, like, micro-flirting, little flirtatious moments.
Yeah, but no acting on it.
No acting on it.
It's just kind of, like... They're there. Mm-hmm. They're there, and you're supposed to be rooting for them.
It's like a regular day in the court, and then this, like, fairy comes with its, like, wings literally like, ripped off of its back.
Yeah.
I think this is, like, a turning point in the beginning. And Feyre's like, oh my god, what's going on? Everyone's, like, freaking out in the court, and it's, like, rumored that this fairy was, like, brutally, like, abused or, like, hurt by this, like, other thing. This, like, other thing. And Feyre's like, what are they talking about? Like, who is this other thing? Anywho, that's, like, a turning point in the book where she's like, oh, so there's, like, a reason why everyone is the way that they are here. Like, there's a reason why they have the masks. There's a reason why they're getting, like, attacked or why they're, like, under a curse or why Tamlin can't, like, really use his magic or whatever. Yeah. Just saying.
Whatever.
There's this, like, thing.
Whatever.
Who is it? I don't know. What is it? I don't know. The point that shocked me the most in this book is this part. This part, I was like, ooh, I don't know how I feel about this. Okay. So, I forget what this festival is called, but basically, the magic is dying in this world, right? So, they need to, at least in Spring Court, so the leader of Spring Court, the High Lord, Tammy, needs to sort of do this ritual to bring magic back to the Spring Court.
There's apparently, like, people who come to this festival, and he has to choose someone.
There's drums.
There's drums. There's, like, weird
there's fire.
Animalistic music. Like, I'm fully picturing, like, Midsummer, like...
I'm picturing Lord of the Flies. Like, there's animal heads on sticks, and, like,
just
drums.
So many... I don't know.
And Lucien warns Feyre, he's like, don't go. Like, just don't leave your room. Like tonight's a big night.
We're supposed to be...
Just trust me.
We're watching you.
Remember what Kaylin said about Feyre? That she, like, doesn't listen to anything anyone ever says ever?
Anything.
So that girl starts wandering, and she's like, oh my god, let me go see the festival. She starts going, and immediately she gets, like, caught by these, like, fairy men and starts getting, like, harassed, you know, whatever. They're like, mortal girl, whatever. When all of a sudden, this like, unknown voice, this, like, the most sensual voice she's ever heard.
She's like, oh my god, who is it?
She turns around and she's like, he's the most beautiful man I've ever seen in the world. And it's like this guy that says, I've been looking for you or something. Or like, you found her, thank you, whatever.
Yeah.
It's this, like, mysterious, sexy man.
Yeah.
The most beautiful man she's ever seen. Remember this sexy man, okay? She met him at the festival.
He's a mysterious sexy man.
Yeah. Then he leaves, and she's, like, just chilling. And Lucien is like, girl, what did I tell you? Like, that's why I like Lucien. Lucien is like, girl, like, what did I say to you?
Puts her in her place. That's what I'm saying. Like, it reminds me of, like, Damon and stuff. And, like, that's just the chemistry that I was getting between all of them.
Yeah.
So,
Lucien, like, sends her back to her room, and he's like, don't get out of here. Like, then he kind of explains that it's, like, there's this ritual happening, and, like, Tamlin will smell you.
Yeah. Because he smelled Feyre, too.
Yeah.
Didn't he, like, tell her, he was like, I could have chosen anyone. If you were there, I would have picked you. Am I supposed to be, like,
I just couldn't get into it because it was giving too animal.
It was giving too animal.
I was like,
like, beastly and, like,
it was giving beastly a little bit.
I don't know. Yeah.
He has, like, a bunch of paint on him, too. And you see, like, the handprints and stuff of, like, the girl that he had to, like, do this ritual with to, like, bring magic. It was just a weird...
It's weird.
It was a weird part.
It's just odd to get into.
But Feyre was, like, down for it.
They're starting to develop. It's obvious.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's so funny how much Feyre compares Tamlin to Isaac, which was, like, her...
Oh, my God. Her situationship.
Like, dude, like, there are so many times where she was like, oh, my God, look at Tamlin's muscles. Unlike the lanky boy that I was with. Yeah, like,
I didn't even have a relationship.
Like, and I was like, not her, like... literally shitting on this man.
Poor Isaac, dude. Isaac was a good guy. Like, he just did his own thing.
We know nothing of this man, but I just thought it was funny. Every time
it was funny.
For us to get, like, some kind of...
We don't even know Isaac like that.
We don't know him like that. But that's what I'm saying about the descriptions of the characters. They're like, let me make it known that this is how I feel about this character.
And it's interesting, just like you said, like, the descriptions.
Yeah.
The same thing with, like, the mysterious sexy man who she was like, he's the most beautiful man I've ever seen. Like, instead of saying, like, his traits and stuff that make him so appealing to her. I kind of blacked out after that festival thing. I was like, oh, we're deep in the fairy lore. Yeah. Okay. Like, Tamlin kind of teaches Feyre how to read. Like, he's taking, like, an investment in her, like, he wants to make her feel at home, right? Like, he gives her the paint that she wants, and he, like, it's giving Beauty and the Beast when he, like, shows her the library.
It's exactly that.
It's literally exactly Beauty and the Beast, okay? And he, like, teaches her how to, he, like, gives her these, like, poems that are, like, smutty poems.
Like, literally limericks. I made a point about the limericks because I was like, wait, he kind of ate that up, though. Because, like, I was like, wait, he kind of ate that up. Like, I wish I don't remember what it said or something, but I was like, wait, he's, like, describing me low-key. And I was like, wait, he ate with that. Like, he's author.
This is their, like, falling in love type of thing. I also remember there's a point where you learn that you can actually, like, give magic to mortals, and he, like, kisses her eyes, I believe, and then she can, like, see...
Yeah, it's like kind of healing.
She can like see what they see, and then she finds out that the like spring court is like filled with people, and he's actually been like using magic to like hide the people. And that he's been like hiding his like true appearance because he's just too fine. That he's like, I will scare you. And I remember that point I was like, are you kidding? I was like, dude, what?
So extra.
They're so insignificant to me though. Like, I wasn't getting I was giving like Stockholm Syndrome, Beauty and the Beast, but like weird. Like, it wasn't like cute falling in love.
No, I literally have a point here saying, I was like, when Tamlin leaves Feyre to go to that ritual, and I just put ha ha ha, I'm imagining like a vampire just flying away, like you know in Twilight. Like, this is so unserious because they describe them as like they fly.
Yeah, they fly.
Or something.
They
so
do.
Like he just
and they disappear
flew out the door and he left me, and I'm like, I'm literally imagining like in Twilight when they're like in the trees like super fast, and that's how I'm imagining. He's like, oh yeah, he glistened, he went away, and like he left me, and I'm imagining like over the trees, and I'm like.
I was like, it was hard for me to get through it because I was like, okay. And I really couldn't get into Feyre and Tamlin like that. But at this point in the story, they're like, Lucian is third wheeling. Tamlin and Feyre are happy right now.
I know.
And I like the part where all of a sudden Tamlin is like, you have to hide, whatever. And in comes the mysterious, sexy man from the festival. And Feyre is like, oh my god, that's like the most beautiful man ever. And we learn that his name is... Rhysand. We learned that his name is Rhysand, and he is also like high fae. Like, he is from the Night Court. He like brought like a decapitated head or something. Yeah.
And they were like, "Oh, that was you.
Yeah.
You brought that."
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be some sort of like
warning. Kind of.
Yeah. Remember when we said that like they were really trying to build up Tamlin and Feyre? Like they're trying to build up this relationship as if we're like. I love them together. Mm-hmm. There was a line that had me, like, it actually made me laugh out loud.
Yeah.
Because it was, I literally wrote, not him pinning her against the wall. OMG, 50 Shades. Like, this is 50 Shades. But there was a quote that had me, like, laughing. And it's...
I would have had you moaning my name through it all. And I would have taken my time.
Like, I was like, I would have been slow with it. And I literally put, that had me cackling. But, like, Feyre's eating it up. And a few chapters later, she's like... Something in his soft tone made me want to purr. And I was like, that girl is horny and feral for this man. Purr? I literally wrote that down because I was like, something in his soft tone made me want to purr. She's not an animal, guys. She's a human girl. And purr is the choice of words we're using to describe. Listen.
Sarah J. Maas's verbiage and her like description of smut is my least favorite thing in the world. It's like he was growling as he. I don't really like Sarah J. Maas's vocabulary. I feel like there's other things she could have said. She also really likes using like. If they're in pain, she loves describing it. Or, like, if they're, like, especially, like, during the end to the trials and stuff like that.
Bones. And
the bones.
Dirt and the grime.
Feyre, like, soiled herself so many times. She, like, I soiled myself. Like, how many times? A million times she wants to crop herself.
Like, literally, like, and my bowels turned water type thing. I'm, like...
like, multiple times my bowels turned water.
And she was like, I couldn't help myself.
What does that mean?
Okay, in my head, I'm imagining, like, diarrhea. I'm imagining, like, that's what it is. It was so scary that, like, my heart dropped to my ass. That's all we needed. Like, my heart dropped to my butt.
I was so scared. Fear took over me.
I was so scared.
My bowels started. After this, like, interaction with Reese, that he came into the spring court, Tamlin was like, OMG, I need to send Feyre home. Yeah. And he ends up sending her home. And she comes to find her family, like, super wealthy and, like, living.
They're well off.
Yeah, they're, like, really good.
Tamlin would always remind her, like, don't worry, we're taking care of them. Like, they have everything taken care of.
Yeah,
but then again, it's her family. She's freaking out.
And he, like, kind of, like tricked their mind. They, like, think that she was away.
She goes back.
Remember,
the house is in destruction.
Yeah. And Alice tells her, she's like, yo, they're under the mountain. And then Alice tells her, like, this entire story, right? About, who Amarantha is, what happened with this curse, which is basically, like, this girl was mad and she put a curse on everyone in Prythian, basically. And now there's, like, this thing where they had, like, a certain amount of time to break the curse. And Feyre finds out, like, she was the one.
Yeah, she basically, that's when it's revealed that, like, she could have been the one to end the curse, and that was the whole reason. Like, he used Andra's. Tamlin used Andra's. And
that was a plot twist for me.
Yeah,
I was like,
bait,
oh.
pretty much. And he was, like, doing, like, sacrificing himself in order to lure human into, like, their court, basically to undo this curse.
Because Amarantha loves Tamlin. She's obsessed. And Tamlin was like, I would not get with you.
Yeah.
For anything. And she's like, okay, well, to break this curse, you're gonna have to get a human.
A human.
That would never touch you.
And she has to say, I love you.
Yeah.
Not just, like, any human that shows you affection or whatever. It has to be.
And Feyre already loved him, but she didn't tell him. So she was like, oh my god, I could have broken this damn curse.
She could have ended it and didn't have to go through all this, but yeah, here we are.
There would be no plot then.
Right.
Truly, honestly, there would be no plot. Other than them just
that's
frolicking.
why I was like, at least all the, like, stupid stuff that happens is for, I guess, the plot.
She is, like, in this, like, imagine, like
a cave,
like, throne room, too, because Amarantha has, like, a throne, and everyone is there.
Who's with her, though?
Who's with her?
Specific to her side? Tammy. Showing no emotion, no nothing.
Tammy isn't even phased.
Straight-faced.
Do you know...
trying not to show any signs that they, like...
Everyone is there, though. Like, Lucian is there. Even Rhysand is there.
Remember that Claire girl that we mentioned?
She is hanging somewhere there.
Hanging there.
They're like,
on the wall. Like, she's a sacrifice or something.
She's literally, like, being shown as, like, a, like, I don't know. She's there. She's on the wall somewhere.
She's hanging.
And Feyre is like, oh my gosh. And Amarantha is like, girl, come over here.
Yeah.
Who are you?
Yeah.
And, like, she tries to get Feyre's name out of her or whatever.
They come to some sort of agreement.
Yes,
like,
okay, yeah.
Like, she's like, okay, if you want to break the curse, if you want your Tamlin back, you're either going to have to solve a riddle or carry out 3 tasks, like one for every full moon.
Yes. Imagine Hunger Games type
literally
of thing.
Hunger Games, like, to the point where...
Like, these are the kinds of tasks. It's
like,
not
she's
like,
a tribute right now.
Yeah. She has to go through everything.
They're like, you have to solve it somehow. She gets, like, thrown into some random, like,
it's like
dungeon.
a ring, bro.
Yeah, it's literally an arena.
She's in the
they
ring.
literally describe it as an arena, and I wrote that it reminded me of Hunger Games, because I'm like, like, there's people watching from above, too. Like, everyone's, like, placing bets on if they think she's gonna make it out alive. There's, like, a giant worm.
There's a
like,
worm
full
thing.
Of teeth or something.
Yeah, I just imagine the worm from Dune. Like,
literally,
I would
like,
put a
just
picture. This worm. Like, giant worm. And Feyre is, like, beat to a bloody pulp. Like, she is...
full of mud.
She's smart, because she's a hunter. So she, like, is very quick to adapt, I guess.
Yeah.
And she's, like, trying her hardest. But, like, I think at one point she, like, cuts her hand or something. So it can, like, get the blood...
It's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing.
She's also, like, trying to trap it in order to basically win the thing.
The task, yes.
Ultimately, she passes.
But,
you know who helps?
Yes.
Our king, Lucian. Lucian is like, to your left or something.
Yeah. He's like, behind or something. He, like, screams it out. And Feyre's like,
and
she does it. It's like every full moon, right? So she spends most of her time in this dungeon cell.
Like a prison cell of sorts.
Covered in dirt and feces, and like she's like, again, like broken bones. She is not doing good.
And she's only being fed bread and water. Yeah. So she's like not being sustained properly. So she's like, what do I do? Like, I only got help one time. She got help from Lucian. Again, our king.
Rhysand comes in and he's like, if you don't let me help you, you're gonna die.
You're gonna die.
And then everyone in this world is gonna die. So you need to like accept my help. But he has a bargain. He has like, there's a deal. There's terms.
So the term is basically, if you come live with me a week out of every month.
For the rest of your
life.
I'll heal you.
And because you don't know if like someone's gonna come save you, you are literally going to die in the cell. So make up your mind.
And then Tamlin's gonna die. She was like, okay.
But what will it look like to Tamlin? She's literally thinking about Tamlin. Like, what is it gonna look like if he finds out? Whatever. She basically takes it. Yeah, she basically takes the deal and is like, okay.
And Rhys, I guess. And then he like heals her.
Does some magical thing.
Her arm, and now she has like a tattoo on her arm.
From like the palm.
Of her like up. Yeah, like
and
her
basically
forearm.
It's like some
eyeball. Yeah.
It's like an eye of sorts. Some tattoo. And she's like, what does this mean? Whatever. But she's like, you didn't tell me. And he's like, well, you didn't ask.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Literally.
That's so true.
Literally, it's like he was
she's
like, never asked.
You didn't ask. Like, I don't know what you want from me.
What?
You didn't ask what the terms were.
Like, girl, there could have been worser things. Like,
yeah, it's a tattoo. Relax. In the second task, she needs like help. And it's like a lever, kind of, right?
And there's 3 of them, yeah.
3.
There's like 3 levers, and they're like, all right, one of them is the answer to the riddle.
Yeah.
They give the riddle, and she's obviously like, what on earth? Mind you, there's like some kind of thing, a barricade, and on the other side of this like barricade is Tamlin.
Yeah.
So then they're like, if you don't solve the riddle and pull it, you and Tamlin both die. He's getting his head chopped off because it's like about to literally like, whatever. And so she's like placing her hand over the levers, and she's like, I'm gonna go for 2. That's her first option because she's like, me and Tamlin were 2. That was her whole reasoning. Like, I'm gonna choose 2 because we're 2. And I'm like, okay, girl. She puts her hand over it, and she's like, ah, like literally pain. Like,
she feels pain from the tattoo.
She feels
from her arm, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, from her arm. Like it, she like feels it coming from her.
So she's like, oh my god, like it's so painful. She reaches for lever 1. She feels pain again. So she's like, what is it? Places her hand over 3. There's no pain. So she's like, oh my god, I'm so scared. I don't know what to do. I'm just gonna go with the one that doesn't give me pain. Yanks it. It's fine. It's fine. The lever stops. Nobody dies. Yeah. And Amarantha's like,
she is mad. She's like, oh my god, this girl.
Oh my god, like she literally went again. But third time's a charm. The next one, you're over. Like you're not gonna win.
You're not gonna win. We found out though that like the tattoo sends like. It's just so we can say it. There's like signals. Now she has like a connection to. We find out that it's like Rhysand who's helping her during this trial. Yeah. He's like kind of like they can connect
it's like
through the tattoo.
Communication thing too.
Through the tattoo,
She can basically like hear things from him as well,
see
and
things,
like what he would say. I don't know.
Then again, she has to spend more time in the cell because the third match doesn't happen, and she's like going crazy, and he's like kind of playing her music, right? And like keeping her sane. Yeah. I think this happens before the third task, which I thought was funny. Rhysand actually kisses Feyre. He does. Because Tamlin couldn't keep his hands off of her. And the whole thing is that Amarantha doesn't know that Tamlin cares about Feyre. Because if Amarantha finds out that Tamlin cares about Feyre, she'll kill Feyre, and then the curse will never be broken.
Like, she'll know his weakness, and then she'll just kill it. It gets bad. So everyone's like, don't come in contact with each other. Like, you're going to this damn party.
And what do?
You can't interact. Of course. They
get together.
Are brushing hands or something. They somehow end up next to each other at this party. And they like brush hands, and they feel some kind of spark between them, and they're like, we need to go in the closet right now. Yeah. We need to get it on. Let's make use of our time because we're dying tomorrow. That's literally what it was. They're like, we're dying tomorrow, literally both of us. Like,
and they get it on.
So they're like, we need to make use of our time, and like and
who just interrupts the moment? Ice bucket over their head.
Literally.
Rhysand. And
Rhysand walks in on them.
Rhysand is like, what the hell are you two doing? Like, there is a plan in motion. Get your act together. And she had like paint all over herself. So he was like, oh my god.
Yeah, I literally was like, oh my god, this is messy.
This is bad. Amarantha is about to like walk in.
She's
about to walk in. So
and like Rhysand knows.
Yeah.
So he kind of like, I'm pretty sure does this as like a
to save her, to save all of them.
Yeah, to save all of them. Because if she were to know that she was literally kissing Tamlin, it would have been over for everyone. Yeah. So
he kisses her. Yeah,
he kisses her
all over,
and
saves her ass too.
Amarantha finds them and is like, what are y'all? Literally,
she's like, third task, let's go.
Third task, she doesn't even care.
Third task, let's go. The third task is kind of whatever. It's crazy. It's like you have to kill or like stab three innocents. And it's like 2 fairies, and then Tamlin is the third one.
Yeah.
And Amarantha's like, go stab him in the heart.
And like she also like takes off whatever's covering their head so that
she has to
look at them in the eye, and that makes it even harder. So she's like, oh my god, I can't do it. And everyone's like,
you want to do it, girl.
You kind of have to do it if you want to save the entire, like, court, basically.
One of them is, like, crying.
And her family and everyone. Like, everyone is going to be saved, but...
Yeah. Like, it's up to her.
It's up to her.
So she ends up killing both of them. One of them had, like, accepted it and was just like, do it. Like, make it quick.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to Tamlin, she's like, oh my god, I can't do this, whatever. But then she gets this little light bulb. And
a random spark of,
like, enlightenment. She kind of does this flashback.
Literally, it's like... She's been dumb this entire book, but then suddenly
she's like, wait, I have a memory.
I have, like, her third eye opens up and she remembers exact conversations that happened like months ago. I don't even know how she happened
that they didn't even make like important.
No, like,
you know,
it was never made like foreshadowing earlier in the book. Like, oh my god, this is important. No.
It would have been
out of nowhere. She's like, oh my god, like, I know what it is. Like,
Alice had told her in the beginning, like, remember when she found Alice back in the thing? Alice was like, make sure to pay attention to all the words, whatever. Yeah. And she has this, like, flashback, whatever, of specific conversations she's overheard. One of them being about Tamlin's stone heart, which was
they were
not
like
even...
something about how he's soft but has a heart of stone.
His stone
something
heart.
like that.
She was like, make that important though.
They never did. But suddenly she's like, wait, multiple people said this. Alice said it. Lucian said it to him. Or something.
And Amarantha, it was like, be careful with the words. And she just said, I have to stab him in the heart, not that I have to kill him. So she's like, ooh, stab.
It's just like banking on the fact that his heart is made of stone and he won't die. So she's like, I could be wrong, but
like blood was gushing out and stuff. He was in pain.
It was like a whole thing. She does
it. Rock.
She succeeds.
Amarantha is fuming. She's like, no. And I think Feyre dies right now. What do they do with Amarantha? Does she die? Oh, Tamlin! Tamlin kills her. Tamlin, like, bites her neck.
That's right. Like, takes out literally, like
a jugular.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what did they do? I know she, like, dies.
Tamlin kills her. And then Feyre is dead. And all the High Lords, remember we said, like, there's lords and stuff?
Yeah.
All of the leaders from all the courts give a little bit of their magic to Feyre.
Right.
And she's, like, dead right now. But she sort of feels herself coming back to life. And she comes to life. As a fae.
As a
fairy.
Fae.
As a high fae.
They're like...
She is magical now.
It was the only way to save you. Like, now you're a high fae. Mm-hmm. And they basically live happily ever after, so she thinks...
They go back to Spring Court.
They go back to the...
Everyone is free now, right? Supposedly. Which, by the way... There's still so many problems in this book. Like, they never address the fact that they, like, want to kill all the mortals. It was just all Amarantha.
It's, like, literally just Amarantha's a problem here. Like, she was the one that put this curse over everyone. Like,
they were like, let's finish the curse first.
Now she's dead, so they're like...
Let's solve the curse.
All right, we're good.
Yeah. Right at the end, she feels like a little... She keeps talking about, like, this, like, gold string. It's invisible. It's not actually there. It's, like, in her mind.
Yeah.
And she feels, like, tugs and whatever. And then it's, like, leading her to Rhysand, who's, like, on her... balcony kind of thing back in Spring Court, and he's just like laughing with her. He's like, you're welcome, I'll see you in a week, whatever. And she's like, oh, thank you, whatever. And he like turns around and like looks at her and like gets super scared, and then he just like flaps away. Like, he has wings.
Oh my god, yeah.
And they just kind of flap away.
I remember this because it was so random to me. Like, I was
it was definitely an Easter egg. I'm gonna say it now.
For sure. Like,
it was important. I already know.
It was funny to me the way that it was done. Like,
I already know they're gonna do a love triangle.
And like pieces out, and we're like,
he literally like flies. He has wings. He literally flies away, and Feyre's like, why did he just look at me like that? He literally has wings.
It was funny.
And then she's just like, okay, I'm good. I'm gonna accept my life here, and they live happily ever after, kind of. But I swear they're setting up Tamlin, Feyre, resand, especially now that she has to go to the night court every time. I'm like, it's gonna get messy. It's gonna get messy. So what are your highlights from the book?
Highlights from the book, I really loved the trials. I thought it was the most entertaining part because there was like action happening, and we were trying to figure out like, oh, are they gonna make it? Is she gonna save Tamlin? I just think it was obviously a little harder for me to get into because
it was really long exposition. It was
the
very
setup.
long.
The setup was like very slow to build, and I was like, when are we going to get to
just action, some
plot.
sort of plot. Yeah.
It was a lot of character.
It was a lot of
and world building,
telling, not showing, and I prefer showing.
Right. But a thing about these books too, like when they start with a map.
Yes.
I just need to make this known. When a book has a map, you already know where you're like. We're gonna get into something, and there's gonna be like.
So much lore.
Just looking at this, probably can't even understand so much of it.
It was new. I'd never gotten into fantasy like that before.
Because you're a fantasy.
I love fantasy. It's just never to this level.
Right.
I've never read anything or watched anything to that level. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. I was a little like I'm just like indifferent to it. It's like
me too.
It was weird at some times.
I was like. Yeah, I would struggle to get through it sometimes, or just because I was like, oh, I have to read. I would try to, like, set a pace, be like 3 at a time, like 3 chapters at a time. And then towards the end, I was just like, okay, I'm going to power through.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to finish and know what's happened.
Yeah.
But it wasn't something that I was like, oh my god, I'm so excited to pick this up and see what happens to Feyre.
Me neither.
Like,
Me neither. I was like, oh my god, I was just back like, with Feyre, painting. She's going around the court again. Like,
she's drinking the wine. She's dancing.
She's thirsty for Tamlin. I'm like, okay, whatever. I think that this is like just like the first, since it's the first book, it's like the setup. I think that now they have enough to like my prediction for the second book is it's a love triangle book. Like I just think it's gonna be like,
that's what I think people
Tamlin
are into, are drawn to, is
they're
like
the love triangle.
Of it all. So they're like, that's when the good spicy stuff happens. Also, this one wasn't as spicy.
It wasn't as spicy. There was like three.
Yeah, maybe like 3 scenes. That were a little like,
and they weren't even good. It's just I don't like Sarah J. Maas's vocabulary. I think that I don't love it. I would rate this book
out of 10.
Oh, I was gonna say out of 5.
Out of 5.
2.5.
Me too. I would say like a 2.5. Maybe a 3 if I'm feeling.
Maybe
generous.
A 3 if I'm feeling generous, just because it made me laugh a lot. But a 2.5.
Like, it wasn't terrible. But it's not like my usual speed. But it was cool to read something different.
Yeah, it was interesting. I'm glad that this was our first book for book club. It's exciting. This was our first.
Reading. We'll see what the next book ends up being. We might take a break from the series. From this series,
just for now. But let us know if we should continue reading the court series.
And if you've read it.
Let us know if you've read it. What are your favorite parts without spoilers? Because we will read it. Okay, so that's all for our first book club. This was actually fun.
Yay, I know, it was exciting.
I feel like we'll get better with more time. This was our first book and our first fantasy book, and I don't know, like
it was just harder for us to get into, so it was harder for us to have like strong opinions. When I'm not like super into it.
Yeah.
But
it was fun. It was definitely fun. I'm excited to see where we go from here.
Yeah.
If you guys want us to review the rest of
the series,
Sarah J. Maas's series, let us know, because we will.
We'll do it.
We will do it.
We'll do it for the daughters, like, I guess.
We'll do it if you guys want to see it.
All right.
But yeah, you can find more of our thoughts and reviews and posts on Fable. We have a book club called The Full-Time Daughter. The Full-Time Thought Daughter. Sorry. And we also have a Goodreads where you can see our progress and you can see our reviews and all that fun stuff.
So you can listen to our podcast, Full-Time Daughter. It's available on Spotify, Amazon Music, or Apple Podcasts. And we make episodes every Thursday.
Yes.
So
you can also follow us on socials at Full-Time Daughter Pod. We'll have everything linked down below, as well as our book club. So if you guys
join the conversation.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below. Join the conversation. Let us know your favorite parts of the book. If you've read it. If you haven't. If you would want to, now that you've heard the lore. Because we basically gave a 10-minute summary.
Yeah.
Probably more.
God
knows how long this is.
I don't even know.
But anyway,
we'll see.
We'll see you around.
All right. Thank you guys so much for watching.
We'll see you.
Yes.